Dame is an all-time great, one of the best shooters ever, one of the best point guards, but Dame is not better than Jalen Brunson right now. Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the Alley Oop Podcast. I'm Brian DeMuro. My co-host is Casey Mirmelstein right here to my right. This podcast is going to be all about sports. We're going to focus on the NBA, the NFL, and all the things going on in the sports world. I'm going to come at you with the New York mindset. I'm from New York, a diehard New York sports fan. Casey over here, Cleveland sports fan. I'll let him introduce himself in just a moment. But this is going to be a brand new podcast. We're going to try to drop at least once a week. We're going to try to get it out on Wednesdays. If anything like that changes, you'll see it on our Twitter, which you can find down below. But with that being said, Casey, if you want to introduce yourself a little bit, let us know the teams that you like and all your stuff. We can get rolling here.
What's up, guys? Brian, thank you for the amazing introduction. My name is Casey Mirmelstein, 20-year-old sophomore at Penn State and a diehard Cleveland sports fan. I grew up in Cleveland. Browns, definitely my favorite team. Love the Browns. Suffered through all of their horrible, horrible seasons. Baker Mayfield, the 0-16, the first playoff win against Pittsburgh. So I've been through it all. Cleveland Cavs, we were awful. We were young. Then LeBron came. Brought us a ring, 3-1, which was amazing. The infamous shot by Kyrie, blocked by James. Just amazing Cleveland calls. I think as a Cleveland sports fan, I've been through it all, the great, the bad, the worst. So we're excited to talk on this podcast and see what we have to say.
Yeah, you've been through it all, and us New York fans, we put ourselves through it all by getting our hopes up every year. So we go with that. But today we're going to talk about the NBA. The trade deadline is coming up here on Thursday. We're recording this on Monday, so you'll be seeing it probably a day before the deadline itself. The first thing I want to get into really here, Case, is the MVP race. Obviously, it's been a big talk of the NBA recently with Joel Embiid looking like the front runner for MVP. Until now, he just went down with a torn meniscus, looking like a 1 to 2 month potential time span for his injury and for his return, which will indefinitely knock him out for the 76ers, but also that will put him out of the MVP race because of this new criteria that the NBA put in this season, which basically says that a player has to play 65 or more games in order to be eligible. I just want to know off rip, what do you think about that rule? Is that something that you think was a good idea in the first place or never should have been implemented? And how do you feel about it now as we kind of see it probably screwing a guy over for MVP?
I think it's an awful rule, to be honest. I think it forces players to play when they're hurt, and I think that's exactly what happened with Embiid. I mean, he suffered injuries throughout the whole entire season and throughout his whole entire career, and this 65 game rule just made him play through these injuries in a way which was not making him get better as time needed. So I think he pushed himself a little more for the MVP as he wants that MVP trophy over Jokic and guys like Shai and Luka. But I think it was overall negative, his performance and overall team's performance, because behind him, the 76ers aren't an amazing team. I mean, they have Maxey and Tobias Harris, which are a few good level scorers, but then they have like guys like Patrick Beverly and just guys that cannot get the job done at a high level. So I think this is not a good call by the NBA. I get it. I understand they don't want guys sitting out just for fun, but I think the injuries are a big risk.
I think I agree with you, especially with I understand where they were going with the rule because of load management and all that. And at the end of the day, it's an entertainment business, so fans are going to the games, they're spending their hard-earned money, they want to see the best players on the court, and when players just sit out because, they want a rest day, I understand where that kind of leaves a bad image for the league, but I think there needs to be some kind of stipulation to it. If it were me, I would maybe make the rule, maybe alter it to like 50 games or something like that. And then I would also make a rule where if a player sits out for over, let's say, a month or has an injury that lasts him over a month, then he might still be eligible because that injury doesn't like go against his MVP case. Because realistically, if Embiid comes back
Yeah.
in, let's say 2 weeks, he misses like what 7 games, 8 games, still knocks him out of MVP.
hmm
But like 8 games, he's still
Yeah.
the best player in the NBA right now. You know what I mean? So
I mean, yeah, he's the most dominant player in the NBA by far. I mean,
I agree.
he gets to the line 20 times a game. He's averaging 35.3 points a season. So, I mean, and he's on triple-double watch like almost every night he suits up. So the rebounds come easy. If he's dishing out the rock, I just think he's such a dominant player, and to lose him is a big blow for the team.
I agree with you, but I also think that I don't know. Embiid is so frustrating. I mean, as a Nets fan, like, and we've played against the Sixers so many times in recent memory in the playoffs last year, and then a couple of years ago with when we had like before the KD Kyrie era. And playing against Embiid, it's just it's impossible for me to watch Embiid sometimes because of how much he goes to the free throw line. Like it drives me nuts. It really
Yeah.
drives me. I mean, if we're talking about the other candidates now, we got like you said, Shea, Luka, Giannis. Who would you put right now? Jokic. Who else would you put right now at the top of that race if you had to pick if Embiid is ineligible?
Um, at first I was thinking Jokic, but I think Luka's three-level scorer and can get to the rim, can shoot the three. I mean, he's averaging basically a triple-double, so he is one of like the most dominant, consistent players in the NBA. And the Mavericks, I mean, they're not the best team, and he just makes all his players better around him. I mean, they suffered injuries through Kyrie throughout the whole entire year. He's really not been dominant or reliable at all. But you
Well, this is
can
new.
rely on Luka to go out there and put up 30, 10, and 10 every single night he steps on the floor.
That's very
Yeah,
true.
I mean, he also, I mean, he does shoot a high volume of shots, but he's a very good shot maker and shot taker. So, I mean, he's just the clear number one for me right now.
I think you want him taking those shots too. Like as if I were a Mavs fan, like I would want either him or Kyrie taking those shots. And if Kyrie's out, then who else is gonna take them? Like I
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I mean, Tim Hardaway is like the next guy. Like, he shoots like 12 threes a game. He's kind of just like a corner, like top of the key type guy, and he just waits for those passes from Luka. So, I mean, the whole Mavericks offense is just behind Luka, so it's kind of like guys play better when they're around him, like with the plays that he makes. So on other teams like Jokic is Jamal Murray, Giannis is Dame Lillard. I mean, Shai doesn't really have one of those guys, but I don't know. I feel like those other guys have good players around them. Luka just makes all the role players on his team even better. I think that's why I would give him my MVP.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I agree. I think if I had to pick right now, I would also put Jokic or Luka above Jokic just by a little bit. I mean, Jokic is averaging nearly a triple double as well. Luka, I think he's at 36, 9 and 11 right now or something like that, or 9 and 12.
Yeah,
And like you said, he just elevates his players a lot. He has to elevate his team and the role players more than any
mhm,
of these other guys. The only thing where I could see Luka not winning is if they go like the team success thing. This has been a conversation for so many years. Like, should your team success matter in the MVP race? For me, it's no, but that's also just not how it's gone in the past couple of years in history. Like, they just kind of, unless somebody has a crazy dominant season, if it's close, they tend to give it to
yeah.
the guy with who has a better team. So in that case, it could go
Mhm.
to Jokic or it could go to Giannis. And I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that. I would put Luka above both of them right now. But if the NBA go, if the voters go that
Yeah.
way, it's kind of a scuff. I don't know. I don't really like how team success plays into MVP, but I do. I guess I understand it, but it doesn't. It kind of bothers me in that way.
I mean, I definitely understand it because MVP is like the most valuable player. So it's like I like to look at it as one who makes the most impact. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like even with that, like even I mean, Giannis is a great player. Don't get me wrong, but even without Giannis, like they still have Damian Lillard to like facilitate the ball and stuff. Luka is like the center, the small forward, the point guard, all in one.
Yeah.
Like he's the best shooter on the team. Like if Kyrie's not healthy, he's the best shooter on the team. He's almost the best. He's like the best in the post and the best mid-range guy. Like Luka can just get to the rim at all costs, and he's also not relying on 20 free throws a game for his points. Like he makes field goals. So I don't know. I mean, it's a long debate, and everyone has their own opinion, and that's why it's a big discussion every year.
That's true.
Just with this new injury, I think taking Embiid out definitely leaves the door open for many of these other candidates.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because it looked like he was cruising to his MVP this year until that injury last week, and then he tried, like you said, he tried to come back in that Warriors game. Probably shouldn't have. Ends up getting hurt late, and that's what knocked him out now for the foreseeable future. Another guy
Mm.
who maybe should be in MVP talks is Jalen Brunson. I was just look, I'm a Nets fan, so New York. I don't really like the Knicks, but I gotta respect what they're doing this year and what Jalen Brunson's doing this year. Guy's been an absolute dog. The Knicks have won like 15 of their last 18, dating back to the beginning of this year, and they're just on a
Yep.
tear. They did lose to the Lakers the other night. I want to talk about Brunson specifically. For me, I think there's no way he shouldn't be an All-Star starter. The guy's averaging like 27 points per game. There's no way Dame is not having a good enough season to be a starter in the All-Star game. I'm just gonna say it like that. He's just not. Dame is an all-time great, one of the best shooters ever, one of the best point guards. But Dame is not better than Jalen Brunson right now.
Yeah, I mean, just to go off of Dame real quick, I feel like his value and his role just kind of was depleted when he went to Milwaukee. I mean, on the Blazers, he was the number one scorer, and he was shooting like upwards of 10 threes a game. Nowadays, like Giannis is the main guy, and yes, Giannis gets about 6 assists a game. A bunch of them are to Dame at the three-point line, but he's just not the same Dame as I remember. He's not taking step-back threes for the win. Like when it comes to it, the ball, if there's like 20 seconds on the clock, like they're gonna try to get Giannis to the paint and to the free throw line. Dame is probably, other than Curry, one of the most clutch shooters of all time, but I just don't see him taking that spot over Brunson at all.
Yeah,
Dame's averaging like 22. He's averaging 22 points this year, and Brunson is just insane. I don't know the exact number, but he's averaging about 30 points in the last week and a half.
yeah.
So at least I know his betting line's up there. 2 days ago on Sunday, that was their loss against the Lakers. His line is 32.5 points.
It's crazy.
The only players in the NBA for their line to be that high, not even Jokic. Jokic's line doesn't get that high. Shea's line gets that high. Luka's line gets that high. Giannis's line gets that high.
Yeah.
No one else. So he's just making that. He's like that X factor that the Knicks and Madison Square Garden have truly needed.
No, I agree.
So he was definitely snubbed, in my
agree.
opinion.
And I think that the league is, as much as I hate to admit this as a Nets fan, if I'm just going to be an objective viewer of the NBA, I think the league is better when the Knicks and the Lakers and the Celtics, specifically those three teams, are good. I hate to be like that. I love how much parity is in the league right now. There are so many. There's probably 7 teams that we could sit here and say they have a chance to win the championship this year, which I think is awesome. And we're going like small market teams like Oklahoma City, all the way up to like the big market teams like the Clippers or whoever, the Celtics. But I just think that when New York City is rocking, it draws more eyes, and whenever there's
I
more
agree.
eyes,
No, I
more
agree. I agree. Yeah, I mean, when the big market cities like LA, New York are rocking, it definitely brings a lot more viewership and stuff like that. I mean, the Knicks have not been good for a while. So, like, the last time the Knicks were, like, good was, like, Melo. You know what I mean?
And they never made it
So, like,
past the second round, I don't think.
I know. They just need that one player that's, like, sensational and just, like, gets the crowd going. And I think Brunson truly is that guy. He also can get to the rim and shoot the three very well. So, and he's averaging about 7 assists a game. So
His footwork in the paint and in the mid range is unbelievable. Like he pivots and he uses that pivot foot better than any point guard in the NBA. I think like it's on maybe him and Kyrie. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree. It's insane.
Do you?
He's a great player, and he definitely should have been there in my opinion.
I agree. I completely agree.
Then again, me and you don't have any say in that.
We don't have votes. If we had votes, I mean, things could be different. But
if we had votes, Bido would be a starter. So Donovan Mitchell.
Honestly, I can't even tell you that any of the Nets play. I wouldn't even vote for any of the Nets players to be starters. So the Nets suck. We'll talk about that maybe later on in the podcast. But one more thing on the Knicks, I wanted to ask you: do you think the Knicks have a chance to win the championship this year? And if not, what's their ceiling?
That's tough. Do I think they have a chance?
Fully
If
healthy.
I was a betting man, I would not bet them to win. I just don't think they have the best center play. I mean, Randall's a good forward, and like Isaiah Hartenstein, like when he gets matched up against these bigger guys, I just don't think he's gonna be able to compete. But I do like them streaky, so I think they'll make 2-3 rounds max. But I don't know. There's just so many good teams in the East, man. So many good teams. But they are streaky right now, so who knows? If Brunson's averaging 30 a game, anything's possible in the NBA, you know? Especially 3-1 comebacks, you know, but...
Well, know a thing or two about those. But, yeah, I think their ceiling is the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know, because they've beat Boston, like, very easily. Like they've beat Boston. And Boston worries me because I don't know, like it hasn't, the Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown thing, like it hasn't worked yet. And I know they got better this year with Drew and with Porzingis, but until I see it in the playoffs, I'm not confident in Boston to go win a championship. I'm just not. Now, that doesn't mean I'm more
Yeah,
confident in any other team in the East because I don't think I am either. Like I don't the Bucks on paper should be good, but they don't
the Bucks.
I don't know. They don't
I
make
mean,
moves either.
Doc Rivers is a fraud. So I don't know how they're doing. I saw they blew like a 20-point lead in the third quarter the other night,
Yeah.
and Giannis was just like shaking his head. I think it was last night. They scored 13. I don't. Do you know if they played last night?
Dude,
I
I
think
don't
they
know.
did.
I'm not sure. Just so the
But
viewers
all
are
I know is
aware.
that game.
So just real quick,
Go
so the
ahead.
viewers know, I'm actually studying abroad right now. I'm in Italy, so and obviously Casey's back in the States. So that's why we're on Zoom here or Discord, whatever. Ideally, once the summer hits, we'll do these in person, and it'll be a lot more fun, a much better viewing experience. But
Yeah,
if I don't
for
catch
sure.
all the games, because these games start at 4 in the morning my time, so I'm fast asleep. But go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to pull it up on my computer. I'm pretty sure they got outscored 40 to 13 in the final
Oh my
quarter.
God, who'd they play?
Uh, 1 second. The Jazz.
Oh
Yeah.
God,
So
that's a bad look.
yeah, 40 to 13. They were up by what? A lot.
Yeah,
So a lot.
yeah. I just think
I
I
think
don't know.
22, but
I don't know what Doc Rivers. It's an interesting signing, I think, especially because Adrian Griffin had them like I think they were 30 and 13 when he
winning.
got fired, and that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like that's absurd. You don't see that. Only in like
Mm,
sports do you see that. And I just
yeah.
think that I just think that again, I don't know like the Dame and Giannis thing. Like it should be lethal, but I haven't seen it be dominant yet. So until I see that, and until we see consistency out of their defense, like you just said, I don't think I can pick them to beat the Celtics. Maybe they could beat the Knicks because I think they have better. I like their size over the Knicks, but at the same
Hmm.
time, like I said, the East is wide open. I can very much so see the
Yeah.
Knicks going to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I can also see them losing in the first round. So it's really just
Yeah.
about who's hot at the
I
right
mean,
time.
yeah. One of the things that like that Dame and Giannis don't do is like the pick and roll game. I think that's like the big thing that works for Jamal Murray and Jokic. Like that's their game. Pick and roll almost every time they're down the floor. And they either take it or pass it back to Jokic. And when Jokic gets double teamed in the post, someone's open. Like I don't know. Giannis isn't a post up type of guy as much as he is more drive to the basket. So it's kind of hard to counteract that with a 3-point shooter like Dame. But Dame's been getting in the paint more. So I don't know. I think the Knicks are also missing out on that a little bit. Randall's been, I mean, he is an all-star reserve, but he hasn't been performing to his ceiling. So I think that's a role.
Yeah, I think the
Also, I
Knicks need
mean,
one more guy.
Dante DiVincenzo's Dante DiVincenzo has been playing very good recently, though.
He's been hooping. He had like
He's a
30
lethal
threes,
three-point
man.
shooter too. Yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
mean,
stepped up big. So
I think, like I said, I think the
I
Knicks
mean,
need
yeah,
one more like superstar. Like if
guy.
they had like I don't even know if they had like a Donovan Mitchell or if they had some like
Yeah, I mean,
even like a
if
Mikal
they had
Bridges, like
that,
one of those guys. I think that if they acquire another star, either at the deadline here, which I don't think will happen. I don't think they're
I
gonna make
don't
many
think they
moves right now
will.
because they don't really have the
Yeah,
assets. But I think like in the offseason, if they can like sign a big name free agent and keep Brunson, even if they have to get rid of Randall, like I think that getting rid of Randall and bringing in a elite like an all-star player that
yeah,
pairs better with Brunson, I think that could be their way they get to the championship.
me too. I actually very much agree.
So let's go talk about the All-Star game a little bit. That's coming up here. What is it, next weekend or the weekend after?
I
Um,
think it's
like the
yeah,
19th or something like
weekend
that?
after.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's the Super Bowl next weekend.
a
So.
big, yeah, oh, that's right, that's right. Yeah, they don't ever put them on the same day, compete with the viewership. The big thing that a lot of people are talking about right now is actually the All-Star three-point contest just got revealed today. I'm pretty sure. Let me just pull this up really quick. I have the lineup for the All-Star three-point contest. We've got Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, Malik Beasley, Jalen Brunson, and Lauri Markkanen. I can't say that excites me, but
Yeah, I mean, those are just a bunch of guys that just like catch
shoot
and shoot
threes.
threes. Like Malik Beasley on the Bucks, like he gets 12 points a game and they're all 4 threes. And he's sitting on the wing in the corner. So he's really just not that big of an asset. Jalen Brunson, he's a good off the dribble 3-point shooter. Lauri Markkanen's probably the best player on the Jazz. Maybe him or Sexton. Dame, we don't got to discuss Dame. He's a great 3-point shooter. And the last guy was who?
Halliburton.
Halbert, I mean, I don't think he should be up there if I'm going to be honest with you. He is way more of a pass first point guard.
He's
I'm
nice though.
honestly, I mean, yeah, his shot form is just hideous in my
It's so
opinion.
bad. It's
But
so bad.
it does go in, I guess. I don't know. I feel like there's guys that shoot better threes, but
I agree. And
I don't know.
well, and
Curry,
then they have the other 3-point contest that they're doing. Steph Curry versus Sabrina Ionescu. For those of you who don't follow the WNBA like that, Sabrina Ionescu on the New York Liberty, she actually broke the record, I believe, for the highest score in a 3-point contest ever. Last year, she
mhm.
missed one shot, if I'm not mistaken. One shot, and it was like her first
Yeah, I
five,
think
too.
one or
Like,
two.
she made like the last like 19 shots or whatever she took, like something like that. Something crazy
Yeah.
like that. So seeing her go up against Steph, I think it's exciting. I think it's a good idea for the league too, just because you get two the best shooters in both leagues, and they're going head to head on a national stage. It'll bring more eyes to the WNBA, which the league wants. So I think it's an exciting little event. It's a nice change of pace because honestly, All Star Weekend's been kind of boring recently. I'm like of late. I feel like it's been
Yeah.
years. You know, I guess it was last year where Mac McClung kind of went crazy in the dunk contest. That was fun, but until
Yeah.
that, the dunk contest has been on a downhill spiral for a long time. I feel like really since like 2016, 17. Like I really feel
Since
like we
the
haven't
Zach
seen
Levine,
much.
Aaron Gordon dunk contest.
Yeah, exactly. So I think
That
that
was the last time I actually enjoyed watching my dunk contest. And the All-Star game is honestly pointless. It's just no defense.
yeah,
It's not very entertaining. But in my opinion, I haven't found any of the All-Star games in any sports entertaining in the last 5 years. So
they're really
I feel
not.
like the superlative-esque more events are better. Like the three-point contest I always watch.
Yeah,
This year, my pick for the three-point contest, I'd probably go Dame, but
yeah,
like a lot of guys got snubbed at that too. But I'm assuming they didn't pick Curry because he has his own low matchup. So,
exactly.
but let's talk about that. Who do you think is going to win in that matchup between Curry and Sabrina?
All right, guys. If you guys have never seen my YouTube videos or followed me on Twitter before, you might not know this, but I am a avid Steph Curry fan. Like I'm a diehard Steph Curry fan. Like that, like he's like my LeBron to those like Bron people. Like I Steph Curry
So like
got me
me,
into
yeah.
basketball. Honestly, like like really it made me fall in love with it. So I can't pick against Steph, but Sabrina can shoot that thing. Like I've watched some Liberty games because they're in New York, so I've watched some of those games, and I've see she was dirty. I think she went to Oregon, if I'm not mistaken. She was really good at Oregon, and then she has like all the records for like or like Oregon, uh, like team history, and then
Yeah,
now in WNBA she's killing it too. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's close. She's also shooting from the WNBA 3-point line with
she can shoot.
yeah, she can. Like she's not a
She can
bad
shoot.
player. Like
Yeah,
she's not a bad player.
but
Like
so can Curry. So I mean, we're gonna see what's gonna happen.
yeah, I think that'll be fun. That'll
Should be
definitely be
interesting.
fun. Speaking of Steph, can we talk about that
Yeah,
60-point game the other night?
yeah. I mean, yeah, he was stroking that thing. So I
Pause.
mean, he went what 10 for 23 from three.
Yeah, I was just gonna
10 for
mention that.
23. Yeah, 10 for 23 from three, almost 50%. I mean, he was just making plays, and he only had six free throws. He made all six, but
Yeah,
I mean, those performances, like Brian, I was talking to Brian about this before the podcast. Like he left 13 threes, 39 points out there. Like that's 99 points if he made all his threes.
that's
So
what I was.
that's Wilt Chamberlain numbers. So
I was just gonna say the
I
same
mean,
thing.
you could talk about it a little more, but he's a great player. So
No, I was just gonna say the same thing. I was just gonna mention the fact that this guy is he left. I mean, first of all, there is no player in NBA history that could shoot 23 threes by himself in a game and everyone would be okay with it, aside from Steph Curry. There's nobody. Like, that is absurd. Like, teams used to shoot 23 threes a game. Now we got one guy doing it. And say what you want about it. It's a joy for me to watch, so I'm not going to complain. If anybody else did it, I'd be mad. But for
yeah.
Steph, it's fine. But it's
I
just,
mean, I don't know who else. I feel like no one else shoots threes like he does. Maybe Dame. I guess Dame would be the next guy if I'm being
but
honest.
not
Like
at
I
the
don't really
volume.
know. Yeah, 23 is
That's insane. Like,
yeah, that's
like that's
insane.
literally over. That's like over 100 and I don't know. No, what's the math on that? Like 70 something points, and he could have made on threes. Like if he made all his threes,
Yeah,
like that's insane. That's insane. Like, but going off, just what I was gonna say, watching Steph have a performance like that. You know, we've all watched those games where he just goes off and he doesn't miss shots. That's what it felt like watching that game. I watched it the morning after. I watched like his highlight reel and all of his shots. Just watching it, I was just like, he just gets in these zones and like he just doesn't miss. He doesn't miss. So it's entertaining.
Yeah,
But just going off of the 60 points, we've seen players in the league just in the past month. We had Book drop 62, Steph with 60. I think Cat had like 63, Embiid 70,
62.
Luka. Like
Yeah.
we've seen like 6 or 7 or 60 plus point performances in the past like month and a half, which I think is just insane. Like
hmm
it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these are just guys, best players on the team shooting high volume percentage. I mean, it's crazy. Cat had what, 8 threes
Yeah, like
as his
eight
like
or nine. Yeah,
power forward center. He just couldn't miss. He had 40 in the first half. So, I mean, these are just good guys on good days with good shots. I mean, it's as simple as that.
that's it.
But I mean, I'm not trying to discredit them. They're good ball players, but it's very entertaining to watch, in my opinion. So
It is.
I love watching high scorers go at it.
For sure. I mean,
So yeah,
especially when you see guys like shoot it with a good like shot percentage. That's what I always look at kind of in these games, like shot percentage and like how
yeah.
efficient were they. Like I think Steph missed like 13 or like maybe six. Like I think he missed three two
He
point
missed
shots.
16 shots.
Yeah. So like
Yeah,
even
just
that, like
16 shots.
when you shoot 38 shots, it's missing 16, like you can live with that. And like I think that
Yeah,
like Luka Jokic the other night had like 27 to 22 and like 12 or something like that. Like not crazy
yeah,
numbers scoring wise, but to have 22 assists or 22 rebounds and like all those assists, it's
yeah.
just the
Yeah,
talent
he
in
was
the league
racking
right
in the
now is
rebounds.
I've never
Jalen Duren also had 22 rebounds the other night too, so
that dude bothers me.
he's a
You want to
beast.
know why? Because he
Why?
gets all these rebounds. He gets like, 13, 15, and then one time, I place a parlay on him, and sure enough, over 8.5 rebounds is my last leg. He gets four. Like, what are we doing? Like, this is only happened. This is why
He only had like 4 last night too. I mean, he's inconsistent. He plays on the
they're
Pistons.
on the Pistons. Yeah,
That's all that is.
that's what I was just about.
Pistons are just not. Yeah, no, they're not it. So
Yeah,
it's a tough matchup, but he is a good. He's like double watch easily every night. So
exactly. Let me talk about the Brooklyn Nets right now. We're sitting at, I believe, 12th in the Eastern Conference, if I'm not mistaken. The Nets suck. That's it. We are not a good team, and it's disappointing because coming into the season, I really thought that the Nets would be at least a 500 team, maybe definitely like a play-in. But I think like the 6th seed was where I thought the Nets would have ended up after this season. I thought we would have had at least 45 wins. Right now, we might not get to like 35 or 40 wins. Like we look terrible.
yeah,
Jock Vaughn's got to go. I'm not a fan of him. We extended him way too early into his tenure. Um, I will say Ben Simmons being out has hurt us. As much as Ben hasn't shown much in the past couple of years, since he's been back in those 2 games he's played, the Nets offense has looked immensely better. So he does open the floor for guys like Mikal and Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas. But honestly, the big talk of the Nets right now is if we should go into rebuild mode and trade McCall and DFS and Royce O'Neal and Dinwiddie, or if we should like keep them. And my thought process, real quick, like I know I've been talking for a minute here, but my real thought process on
no, go
that,
ahead.
if the Nets can't get DeJounte Murray right now at this deadline, I'm selling. I'm get rid of McCall, get rid of DFS. They're saying we get 5 first-round picks for McCall, like 3 for DFS, like 2 for Royce O'Neal. Do it. Like, do it. And then if we don't get Murray, maybe help facilitate a three-team deal with the Lakers and Hawks, send Dinwiddie to the Hawks, and then we can maybe get D'Lo back from the Lakers. I'd much rather that. And then we trade the rest of
Yeah.
our guys, and we really focus on building around
hmm
Cam Thomas and Nick Claxton, than sit here and be just 10 games under 500 all year, get a mid-round draft pick, and be stuck in this
Yeah.
cycle because we don't have any of our picks.
Yeah. I agree. I think that, I mean, DFS and O'Neal aren't doing too much for you. So if you can get any first round picks for them, I think that'd be essential.
Yeah, I mean they're
On
highly
another
rated
note,
guys.
the Cleveland Cavaliers are 13-1 in their last 14 games. Just got Evan Mobley back from injury. Just got Darius Garland back from injury. Donovan Mitchell's dropping 30 a game. Cavs are hot. The Cavs are young. Pause. But they are looking to make a push in the Eastern Conference. So, do I think they could win it all? Probably not. My delusional side says yes, they can win it all, but I don't know if they really can. I mean, Jared Allen has been playing amazing recently, but I don't know. Eastern Conference Finals, I think, is possible. We talked about this earlier. The teams above the Cleveland Cavaliers are only the Bucks and the Celtics. We're 31-16 right now, 5.5 games back. So the Cavs are looking good. I don't want to touch on it too much and take up too much time on the podcast, but it's going to be excited to see where they go. 13-1 in the last 14 games. Very exciting. Hopefully, I get to see another championship brought to Cleveland after this sad Brown season. So yeah, I think it's good to talk about our teams a little bit and just see how we're doing.
Yeah, I think it's also just real quick. I think it's about consistency with the Cavs. Like we've seen even I think last year, the year before, you guys were like at top of the East for a little while, or like top 2, top 3.
Mm-hmm.
And as the year went on, you guys kind of fell back into like that 4 seed, and then you play like I think was it the Knicks last year?
We played the Knicks. Yeah.
So I think that like avoiding like that
yeah.
4 or 5 seed, if you guys can stay top 3 in the East, have home court advantage and
Mm-hmm.
all that, I think that would bode well for you guys. But yeah, you guys have been killing it recently. You guys are hot, so it's got to be exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
as much as I love
As
basketball,
long as
I'm looking forward to March Madness at this point.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I haven't even thought about that honestly. Just one last thing about the Cavs. Do we stay healthy? Mobley, Garland, Allen, and Mitchell, I think we can make a push. But yeah, March Madness, I haven't even thought about that at all. It's coming up quickly. I mean, we got a month.
The thing is,
Well, a little more than a month, but
the thing about March Madness,
go ahead.
I love March Madness. Like college basketball, March Madness is awesome. My issue is I don't watch enough college basketball throughout the year. Like I follow Seton Hall, that's my team, but I don't
They're
watch.
hot. They're hot.
They are, dude. Okay, well, we lost Kadar Richmond. We are like for a little while, and we lost 3 straight games. That hurt. But for a while, I think
Yeah.
we'll make the tournament. But we were looking really good for a while there. But I don't watch enough other teams throughout the year. And then it comes to March, and I'm trying to like watch all the conference tournaments, and I'm like, who's good, who's not. And then my bracket's
Yeah.
busted by like.
And then you
day
make your
4.
bracket.
Yeah, it's like, what are you gonna do?
Kentucky loses again, and I'm like, man.
Nah, I'm
Purdue loses.
I'm gonna
We'll
pick
see.
Kentucky this year. What's his
You
name?
think so?
The point guard. You know what I'm talking about?
Kentucky's point guard? Yeah, he had like 28 the other night.
He was
I
hooping.
forget his name.
I forget some of this.
Is it Rob Dillingham?
That's it. Yeah, Dillingham.
Rob Dillingham.
That
Okay.
dude is a hooper.
It might not be Rob. I don't know. Anyway,
It's something
I know it's
like-
Dillingham.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So he's a hooper for sure. He's a baller. I mean, I like Kansas this year. Kansas was looking good. They just beat Houston. So it was an at-home game, but Houston was favored. So I don't know. I haven't been watching too much out there. I mean, I've been to 2 Penn State games here at Penn State, and I don't even know if we're going to make the tournament. So
Well, the Big Ten.
we did have a come-from-behind win on Ohio State, but that's about it. So it's all right. Nothing too exciting from Penn State's aspect, but March Madness is definitely my favorite sporting time of the year. So I'm just really excited about that.
For sure. Absolutely. So that's pretty much going to do it here for our first episode of Alley Oop. Again, you guys can talk with us on Twitter down below in the description. I have Casey's Twitter link down there, my Twitter link down there. We'll also going to have a TikTok page, which will also be in the description. So make sure you check us out on all social media platforms and leave a comment. Talk to us. Tell us your thoughts on what we discussed, your thoughts about the NBA, basketball, or just sports in general. We want to talk to you guys and interact with you guys. That's what makes this whole thing fun. That's what makes these sports shows go. So this is episode 1. Be on the lookout for a special Super Bowl episode coming this weekend as well. So make sure you guys do have notifications turned on. It's going to be on YouTube. We're going to probably get it on Apple Podcasts along with Spotify. So you guys can find us wherever you listen to your podcast. Casey, before we sign off, anything else you want to say, man?
I mean, I appreciate everyone who's made it to the end. Debate any of our hot takes or bad takes in the comments below. Me and Brian are pretty delusional sports fans. We ride with our dogs till the end of the day. So probably have some takes you don't like, but I appreciate it. This is just the beginning of our podcast, episode 1. Hopefully we can grow a little bit of a following before summer and then get some in-person videos, some interviews, stuff like that. So this is just the beginning of the Alley Oop podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you. We'll see y'all in the next one.